Hello everyone and welcome to Battle of the Beast Reptile Rampage episode number 15. I'm Adam and this is the 15th battle of round 1. We're down to the last two battles where two beasts are fighting it out for a spot in round 2. And then we'll have one spot left in round 2 where the last two beasts will be fighting out for that spot. And that next battle is going to be one of the best ones of round 1. But here we are, we got a bit of an interesting matchup which I'm surprised we haven't had before actually. And it's a Hydra on Hydra battle. So, let's introduce the beasts. Well, the Hydras anyway. Representing Series 3, the Dark Realm. The reptile which I did forget about in the drafting video, but ultimately did decide to add on for reasons that technically it is a reptile. So, that being said, Narga the Sea Monster versus his opponent. In previous tournaments, this beast has made it to the top 7 in the new generation tournament and relatively far in the old generation tournament before meeting his demise. But this beast is from Series 26 of 4 Masters, has established himself to be one of the most formidable opponents to participate in a tournament. And how will Narga face against his fellow Hydra, Mallix the Silent Stalker? So with both of these beasts going against each other, it being Hydra and Hydra, I kind of felt like it was obligated to put these as one of the last fights of this round. And considering the other one, I would say is the next fight is higher stakes, penultimate battle of round 1. And with that, let's get to the stats. Narga the Sea Monster. This multi-headed sea beast can terrify attackers into thinking they're dealing with several separate creatures. Its many eyes glow with fury, yellow and orange against its scaly skin. The stench of this beast has been known to make grown men pass out in a dead faint. Age 346, power 233, magic level 146, fright factor 87, size 310. Powers and abilities: underwater breathing, enhanced strength, enhanced durability, multiple heads, natural weaponry, head regrowth, head duplication. So alongside the ability to regenerate several heads after the resurrection of a head, Narga gained the ability to sprout additional heads with decapitation. When a decapitation occurred, 2 heads would sprout from the neck of the original. So if he loses 1 head out of the 6 heads he has now, he'll end up with 7. Making him considerably more dangerous. And water walking. Weaknesses are head removal and head regrowth animosity. So the new heads will actually start attacking the old heads. Okay, moving on. Mallix the Silent Stalker. Mallix does not have a bio of his own, so it's just the power and abilities to go with, and that is Venom Breath and Wood Encasing. Mallix can fire venom from its mouth that encases people in wood. When it strikes them, the victims can still breathe when encased in wood. Head Regrowth. If Mallix is decapitated, 4 more heads will sprout from when their head used to be. So if he loses 1 head out of the 4 heads which are there, he will regrow that one plus 3 more, which would make it 7. Okay, natural weaponry, sharp fangs. Constriction, Mallix can constrict foes and trap or crush them. Enhanced strength, enhanced maneuverability, enhanced durability, and venom resistance. Weaknesses: venom resistance limit. There is a limit on how much Mallix can be resistant to venom, as he was put to sleep after getting hit by a large amount of sleeping venom. And reversion. With that, back to me. Okay, so with the stats department done for both of these beasts, the battlefield will be the Clock Arena from the Hunger Games Catching Fire. And with that, let's get into this. As the chamber doors open, Mallix immediately slithers along the spoke to the centre of the arena and hisses in aggression into the arena. All the fans are cheering for him. At the moment, Mallix has 1 head at the moment, so for now. And meanwhile, in underwater, Narga exits from his arena at his chamber. And on one side of the center island in the water, one of Narga's heads emerge, followed by another on the opposite end, then another, then another, then another, then another. So Narga's heads have all sprouted up underneath the center, from around the center island, trapping Mallix. Narga roars into the arena, and the audience members are cheering, realizing it's a Hydra on Hydra fight. And at that point, all the Narga heads stare down at Mallix. Mallix stares up at them, realizing that he's got his work cut out. He immediately curls up into a small circle and spits venom towards one of Narga's heads. The venom lands directly on that Narga's head, and immediately traps the head up to the neck in wood. One of the other Narga heads submerges himself underwater and bites through the wood, decapitating that head, causing 2 more heads to re-emerge. All 7 heads come up out of the water and stare down at Mallix. But the 2 new heads start staring down the other Narga heads. One Narga head in particular growls in aggression towards all of the heads, one of the original heads, and persuades the new heads in a way of saying, "I know you may not like us, but right now we all have a common enemy, which is this snake here. We will take care of him first, and then we'll kill you." The new Narga heads look at each other and nod in an uneasy alliance, let's say. Mallix, realizing that he now has 7 opponents, realizing he can't decapitate these heads, knows that he's got his work cut out. As all heads reach down for Mallix immediately springs up and avoids each head that's snapping towards him, and wraps himself around all the Narga necks and pulls as hard as he can to try and constrict the airflow of all the heads. Once he's looking at all the heads, he counts 6. Realizing he's missed a head, he looks around frantically for the other, but can't find it, until that spare head sneaks up behind Mallix's head and bites right through the neck. Mallix's head falls right off, and immediately the body goes limp, causing the other heads to go free. As the Mallix snake regrows 4 heads now, all of them, Narga stares down at Mallix in shock, not realizing that Mallix is also a Hydra. What Narga does now is that they all go down to attack the Mallix head. Mallix springs up above all the heads and lands on them all, wrapping each neck around 2 heads each, and wrapping the tail around the last head. With one of Mallix's head free, he's thinking about what he's going to do to take care of Narga. Eventually, Narga hoists himself up, pushing his entire body through the center island, shattering it entirely. And Narga is now walking on the water. With the insane change of environment and the rumbling, it caused Mallix to lose a little bit of concentration, causing the Narga head with the tail wraps around him to lean over and bite through another neck, causing 2 more heads to be free, and they bit through the tail. So with another head decapitated off Mallix, we now have 7 heads of Mallix versus 7 heads of Narga. As Mallix lands on a spoke, staring at the 7 heads of Narga, whilst the 7 heads of Narga stare down towards the 7 heads of Mallix. Seems like a legend over here. The audience members are just sat down, leaning in shock and in anticipation on what's going to happen and which Hydra is going to come out on top. They all are roaring at each other to try and intimidate each other. Narga, having the size advantage, though, is unfazed by Mallix trying to intimidate them. Mallix then gets the idea to where he's going to shoot venom at each of their necks, connecting to each of the heads. With 7 heads, all of Narga's heads get covered in wood instantly by each of the other Mallix heads. And immediately Mallix realizes that he now has the advantage. With the body of Narga also trapped in wood, there's nothing Narga can do. As the eyes are staring down at Mallix, still very much alive. They're trying to break free from the wood, trying to figure out what to do. The lead Naga head tells all the other Nagas to try and lean back and lean forward, almost like they're on a raft of sorts, leaning closer and closer to a wall of the arena, before they take one lean back and slam all of themselves against a wall of the arena, breaking away the wood instantly. The Mallix head stares at that in shock, realizing that their main go-to attack is fruitless. The Naga heads realize they need to outnumber each other, so the lead Naga head starts decapitating the other old Naga heads, to thus cause, let me count, 11 heads in total to be on Narga. The lead Naga head asserts himself as the authority here and makes sure that none of the new heads attack each other. Meanwhile, Mallix sees that, realizing that he's got his work cut out, needs to figure out what exactly they need to do. So for that, what they do, they curl themselves up into a ball and leap towards Narga. All the Narga heads are leaning in to attack at the Mallix. Mallix immediately dives down, and whilst the Narga heads are snapping down, Mallix is losing a head here, losing a head there, and loses another head, regrowing 12 more heads from the original 4, so 16 heads in total now. If I lose count, I apologise. Eventually, Mallix is slithering around Narga's body. Each of the Narga heads are biting at Mallix, trying to attack each other, but they're just cutting other necks in the process. Mallix realises that he needs to be more agile to an extent. So what he does is the lead Mallix head bites down on all 15 of the other heads and half decapitates them. Doesn't fully decapitate them though. As those dead heads are just flailing around, being hit by everything, Naga heads are trying to bite down at Mallix, but Mallix is able to dodge through them effortlessly, but with struggling, being pulled back by his dead Mallix heads, but they're just scratching at Naga's necks as well, whilst the Naga heads are biting at each other as well, causing blood to gush out. But Naga's not realizing this. They're just fully focused on trying to get rid of Mallix. Mallix then wraps his entire body around all the Naga heads to where Naga can't even move because they're trapped up, because Mallix has trapped them all near the top of their necks, and then staring down at the body of Narga. The Naga heads realise what they've done. All 11 of them look down at the others' necks and see that blood's dripping from their necks incredibly fast. Some from their bites, some from Mallix's bites. And then Mallix stares them right into the eye and says, "You don't mess with the best Hydra, that's me," before he constricts the heads as hard as he can, causing blood to gush out even more. The Naga heads are roaring in pain and trying to snap at Narga, but nothing's happening. The lead Mallix head uses his fangs and fully decapitates his dead heads, regrowing 15 heads times that by 4, 45, so there's 61 Mallix heads now, and all of them stare down at the 11 Naga heads. With their fangs at the ready, they just stab their fangs right into each Naga head, impaling all of them through the skull, in the eyes, the brain, everywhere on the Naga heads. Eventually, the Naga heads stop making sounds. Mallix loosens his grip as he slides down Naga's necks onto the body. All the Naga heads fall face first into the water, and Naga's body is just left floating there. To ensure that they have their victory, with all the Naga necks bleeding out and very badly stabbed, he shoots the venom towards Naga's body, trapping the entire body in wood, and Mallix curls up into a ball, leaps onto one of the spokes and makes his way back to his chamber, satisfied with his victory. With that, Mallix has won, Narga's lost. You think Narga should have won, please comment below. I think that how my worst final and Mallix moved on to the next round. This was a close fight because both of these are Hydras. I do like my Hydras, but I want to try and show some fairness with this because thinking about it though, Mallix can regrow 4 heads when he loses 1, whilst Narga can only regrow 2. I thought it would add a bit more intimidation factor if there's one lead Narga head that can assert authority over all of the new heads so they don't attack each other, thus getting rid of Narga's key weakness. But then you take into account that Mallix can regrow heads quicker, and then Mallix is also more cunning due to being a more older, more experienced beast. Narga may have the size, but he doesn't have the intelligence, which Mallix has, and brains beat brawn in this matter. Mallix knew he needed to injure them without decapitating them, but also he needed to be as agile as he can without having too many drivers at the wheel. So using the Narga heads against each other whilst they were going for him, he was able to get them to attack each other. But he used his fangs to half decapitate his own heads, just so they're dead, but they won't be trying to sabotage him in the first place, which they won't, but they won't accidentally sabotage him in that matter as well. Mallix outplayed Narga with using his brain against Narga's brute strength, and that's what gave Mallix the victory there. Ultimately, I would say it was a bit far-fetched that Mallix won, but honestly, I would have been happy with any of these Hydras winning. I just gave it to Mallix because I felt like he would win more, despite being smaller. And with that being said, that's all for this time. If like what you saw, you like, leave a comment, definitely subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.